Live.
Good morning.
Did you get a haircut?
2, 1,
Did
action.
you get a haircut, Harry, or do you tie back?
I got them all cut.
Really?
Yeah. They don't charge you anymore if they cut them all.
That pisses me off because I think I should get like at least a 50% discount.
I get a haircut like once a year.
But
I'm due
I
to
have
say
to admit, they don't do very much work here, but they do a lot more work in my ears.
I am due to shave my head, so I'm gonna do it in the next couple of days. It's too long.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but
hey, look,
Orange County.
They made it out. UCLA claims they have a breakthrough for baldness, and from what I saw, that it could hit the market within a year. So let's see what happens.
Really?
Not that I'm fully bald, but I'm follically challenged.
I go to a cute Vietnamese gal that cuts my hair, and it's always fun. I should go more than once a year.
All right.
Okay. So people might be questioning the thumbnail, and I'll wait to Maslofian, if he is comes up to explain.
I think he's breathing hard.
Well, explain the thumbnail, but I will say, so Patrick PB Thou came into town on Friday. He had business in San Diego, so I met him on my side, the west side, the South Bay of Los Angeles, to the stores I go to near me. And there was one store in particular that I if someone comes to LA, I will take them to the store, but I don't freely say go to the store. And I thought this store is perfect for Patrick. It's a digging store, and he's going to go in there. And not that I'm in awe of people, but his knowledge is what I would like to obtain, because that dude goes in there and pulls out things that most people would just go, oh, that's another one of those. And the whole trip, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Patrick, was seeing him go, bang, this is the one you want to get. And that happened like Jim witnessed it. It happened all day long. And I have to think, me going out with someone, other than going to an estate sale and picking up a box of records, I think I bought 70-something records with Patrick just to keep up with him. And I dwarfed him. He just found shit that when you go to his auctions, you're going to go, wow. And
I mailed off 3 boxes yesterday of Patrick's stuff. It weighed 80 pounds.
I gave him these big boxes that I get from my store. I had to give him 2. So I have a sampling of what I found. I'll show some of when I picked up. And some of these are non-jazz. Most I pick up jazz. This is I think it's a later 70s reissue of this Mississippi John Hurt on Avant-garde. And it's a pretty desirable record, so I have to clean it. That'll probably be. I know a lot of people pick up the regular version of this, but I found the Half Speed Master.
That's a really good album.
Isn't that good?
It's all him doing covers, right?
Yeah.
I found.
Good morning, everybody.
I found this MoFi of the Jackson Browne the Pretender. That'll probably be my next auction.
Oh, just sell it to me outright.
Would you want this?
Yes, I do. I do.
Wow.
It's
insider
very
trading right here. Insider trading.
It's very
put it in my pile.
All right, Harry's pile.
Okay.
He
doesn't get the credit he deserves anymore. People kind of just.
I think he gets enough credit. The problem with him is I'm sure he's been able to tour and perform. But he hasn't been relevant since the 80s, really.
He hasn't wound up in rehab or
he hasn't. He's not. I think in the last bunch of years, he's been quoted just as an old complaining guy. about things.
He turned into Roger Daltrey.
Oh,
I found. Well, it's didn't Neil Young steal Dara Hannah away from him, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he thanked Neil later.
I found this Brazilian pressing of this Paco de Loche album that looks very nice. Let's see. Oh, this is cool. And I'm probably going to swap out my copy, but my copy might be this copy. I don't know. So I found this Tom Petty Southern accents. And another secret about me, love Tom Petty, have several of his albums. And I have to say, consistently, great sounding records. They were really well recorded.
Does it have Rebel on it?
Yeah, this has Rebel on it. And
okay, I went in when that album came out. I went into Tower Records and I entered a contest to win a Honda Rebel motorcycle, and I won it. But I already had a Honda 750 Interceptor, and I didn't need the Rebel, so I sold it. I picked it up at the dealer, rode it over to a guy's house. And
how much did it go for? Like,
I can't remember. But the Honda Rebel was a really small bike. Not a lot of power. I didn't want it.
So this is translucent. So indiscriminately, this is what I do now from communicating with Tim, the University of Vinyl. I start looking to see if 80s records are on translucent vinyl. This one is. And I found a bunch of Pablos. We went to the Pasadena slot meet. This particular Pablo, which is I've never seen before. It was a concert from 1966 that was released later in the early 80s.
It was never released before.
But this is translucent vinyl too. This one, I found some Pablos that were on translucent vinyl. So
good morning, Norman.
Good morning, Rebel.
Here's an interesting record. Does anyone know who this dude is?
Yeah, Neil Hefti.
Neil Hefti wrote the Batman theme.
Right, he wrote the Batman theme, which is not on this record, but all these songs are kind of influenced. Like
yeah, cool.
He was a TV.
And this is on RCA. I'll probably put this in my next auction, but this is kind of Martin Denny-ish, like cocktail loungy jazz music. So that's cool.
Cool cover though.
Yeah, cool cover. I mean, here's a cool one. So the only reason I know about this label, Golden Imports, is through Poetry on Plastic, and it was kind of a Mercury Living Presence like offshoot, like records that were never released before. Obviously, this one was the soundtrack to Vertigo, but this.
So would that be like their discount label, or?
It was sort of a discount label, but they would reissue audiophile sounding records on this label and unreleased, like a lot of classical recordings.
And that's a US pressing?
Yeah, it's US.
Because I've never seen that.
Wait, no, it isn't. It's not US. This is this was printed in the Netherlands. So I'm not 100% the cover was, but this is like Mercury. A lot of these titles were like unreleased in their like
present or whatever they call it.
Yeah. I have a lot. I'll show some more, but now Norman's here. We can discuss
Norman.
So we went to the Pasadena flea market, and we all went off on our own, kind of. Jim was distributing his papers. Patrick went off to find records, and so did I. And I was digging, and the guy comes up to me, and he goes, "You're part of Mazzy's entourage." And I go, "No, Mazzy's part of my entourage." But the guy,
whatever you want to believe, Rob.
The guy was like giddy. Oh, my wife's never going to believe this. My wife's never going to believe this. He goes, "I've seen you on Mazzy's channel. I watch Mazzy all the time."
The funny thing is, you're hardly on my channel, except when we have the meetups, the LA meetup.
Listen, if you made the kind of impact on your channel that I made on your channel, then you would get people approaching you like they do for me. So the guy was like giddy, and he goes, "I need a picture." And he grabbed a woman standing next to us, which a woman at the record area is very rare too.
Grabbed a woman.
She took a picture of us, and he was like, "My wife."
Good to have an alibi.
I can't wait to tell my wife about this.
I don't know anyone who can corroborate that story, though.
I don't think Rob would make up.
Was his name Michael Fremer?
Yeah, right.
You know what? In a million years,
Or Chad.
I could not make up a story like that.
We should
Wait,
get
the
matching
payment,
tattoos.
the payment of there's a punchline to the story. So that happened, and that story alone would be enough for the price of admission to watch the stream. But when Patrick heard the story, the rest of the whole trip,
Right.
he goes, "How come I don't have an entourage?"
Yeah.
And then he made up scenarios where, I have to send Patrick a link. I'm sorry. Let me do that while I'm futzing about. So the whole time, Patrick was like really upset by the fact that
It was like world out of balance.
that he was in his element and did not get recognized.
The only time I got recognized is when a guy came up to me in Amoeba and said, "I'm not a fan of waxed."
That happens all the time.
But yeah,
why is he so rude to everybody?
There's more non-fans of the wax than fans of the wax.
Well, we love you, Rat.
But you know what? The fanship, the non-fanship of the non-fans does the same effect as the fans.
Put Chris's from Record Talks thing up there.
Let's see where he is. Okay.
Well, I'm going to be down there in 3 weeks.
Hold on, you silly Willie. He watches the stream while she's there. So she does know.
She dances for him while he's watching.
Some of us are married.
Chauncey was there.
So yeah,
the first day he was there.
Chauncey met up with us. Who else met up with us?
So this was the entourage without the.
It was. It was all of Los Angeles.
It's kind of like the Heartbreakers without Tom Petty.
It was the Los Angeles contingent of the vinyl community following Rob around like a bunch of.
No, Vinyl Piper hid away. He didn't come out.
You should have done that slow motion like you guys did up in Canada, I think.
Well, hold on, Terry. We were walking while Patrick was complaining, and I said, "Why don't you walk slower, Patrick?"
Either walk way ahead or way behind.
How come Fluffy wasn't there?
Fluffy, where were you, man?
You said I see Delfina was there, huh?
Oh yeah, Patrick met Delfina, or Delfina met Patrick.
Oh yeah, Delfina was there.
That's nice.
She was at the flea market.
Yeah.
But here, even in my neighborhood, ironically, someone posted on Facebook they had boxes of records. We went to this location and they were shitty ass records. Patrick still found 4 records there.
I think Captain Phoenix is the official vinyl community spokesman for Sam Records. Sam Records just followed me for the first time yesterday on Instagram. That was surprising.
Very nice.
So, I have a restraining order because he keeps following me.
So how is Fred doing? And does he have a title that's coming out soon? Let us know. And how long of a trip is it for you to go there? That's my curiosity.
Mazzy, I was very underwhelmed with the Rhino High Fidelity titles.
That's because you don't like new music. That Wilco record is great. It's not their best record, but it's a great record. That Wilco record's great. So, but Belladonna surprised me. But that's that was like a 4 platinum record. That was a huge record.
You know,
I'm sick of her and Fleetwood.
Yeah, I'm not a big.
Here's the
I
thing.
think the Wilco's a good one.
Here's the thing. I read the threads, and a lot of people were not impressed by those 2
titles. I agree, but I think they're wrong.
As someone who came of age in the 80s when that album was huge, and everyone bought it.
It wasn't,
and everyone bought it, and ever since it came out, it's been available.
Oh, which one are you talking about?
Belladonna.
Oh yeah.
Belladonna has been available
I agree.
consistently.
Yes.
Has been available consistently for the last 40 years. And here's what, more importantly, here's what makes that choice stupid. It came out for Record Store Day last year.
Okay.
Like, whoever decides I'm putting Record Store Day titles and then the hi-fi, do they talk to each other?
Yeah. I think the Wilco's good because Wilco's it's 30 years old like last month or 2 months ago.
Okay, but
I think Wilco's a good choice.
Well, yes and no. I like Wilco.
Well, it's not. But the thing is, it's funny. People they want the '90s, but not that '90s. They want something different, but not that something different.
Well, hold on. Again, Wilco. I think that record has been sort of available, but it's not a big in demand record. I think they're a big touring. They're a touring.
There's a 2017 was the last time it was out. So, and yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a good. I think it's a good choice. I would have preferred other Wilco records. Only a couple of them I think are available through Warner's. After that, they go to non-such later. But I think that same year, and I think you'll probably disagree with this also. This is when Uncle Tupelo split in two, and Sunvolt came out later that year, '95 too. I think it would have been good putting the Sunvolt album and the Wilco album.
Warner's?
They're both one's Reprise, one's Warner's. Yes.
Well, I don't agree throwing all the eggs into one.
Basket. It would probably been a good battle of the bands in a way, like Blur and Oasis or something. You know, I think it would have been, or even Uncle Tupelo's Aniline, which is the year before.
All I'm going to say is this: Rhino just better get the boxes of those records and ship them directly to the mom and pop record stores.
Everyone says Buckingham Nicks. Apparently, Lindsey Buckingham has never wanted to do it. Now, maybe they could talk him into it, but he hasn't. If they haven't done it in 50 years now,
I sold a copy. I sold a copy in my last auction.
I mean, that would sell a shitload if they were able to.
I own it.
It's a good record.
It's a great album.
Oh yeah, I like it.
It is. Trace by Sunvolt would be great, and that's a rare record on vinyl. That goes for I think $100. If you can get it on.
All right. Hold on. Jim has something important to say. You're breaking the news.
Here's an exclusive from Variety Record Subscription Company, Vinyl Me Please, acquired by VNYL Inc. New owners vow to restore troubled service to former glory. New owners are Nick Alt. Where do we know that from? Didn't he have a very early subscription service?
What's his last name? How do you spell it?
ALT.
He invented alt rock.
Can you?
There you go.
Hold on, I'm gonna find the story.
I'll send it to you.
How come we didn't talk about the Beatles box set? That's already sold out.
We did.
You were late.
But
you were early.
Sold out. You can still get it in France. There's like 4 countries you can still get it in, and they ship to America. So
all right, I found the story, and we're breaking it on this stream, and all the other streams can go suck it.
I still think the idea of subscription is
Did you find it?
I think subscription is a bullshit thing, personally.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna share the thing. Share the screen. Let's get this up here. This is such a rigmarole to do this.
God, you're
so they had the plates, right, for the box set. So it was not
Harry. We're talking about this.
Nobody cares about this shit.
But dude, there's been 20,000 live streams and videos about the fucking Beetle box.
Not here.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not. People don't come to me for Beatles information. Go watch Joe Mayo. He did about 30 videos about it. Okay. So here, vinyl record, blah, 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 blah. Let's find out. Return to the former glory. That's the guy.
Yeah, Nick Alt.
I don't like guys who pose like this. I'll be honest. And who's she?
You got to read the story there.
That's his alt girlfriend.
She's the president.
She's a direct-to-consumer expert. Let's go find out how many people this guy's burn bridges.
So he probably put together an investment group to buy it, but I don't know. I think
They're tainted now.
I think the subscription model is just not a good model. I mean,
well, it is a good model if they're putting out records that people want.
but anyone that you're you're locked into a thing. It's this, with physical things.
Mazzy,
So
how
Nick
many
Alt, I'm pretty sure Nick Alt has done this before. This isn't his first subscription service.
Yeah.
Well, let's look and see who he is.
I don't give it a lot of big future personally. But,
Nick Alt. He has an X account.
well,
All right.
Wow, that there's a strike against him right there.
Nick Alt. Nick Alt.
I'm pretty sure he had a store on Abbot Kinney for a while, I think. Maybe.
This isn't the same guy.
Let's
That doesn't
get
look like
physical.
getting licensing is not easy now more than ever.
Well,
Exactly.
read this story. I think this is just sort
Well,
of
if you didn't scroll so fast, we could read it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a smart guy. I'm sure.
I think this is just a like a publicity.
Yeah, I'm
piece.
sure. I'm
It's a
sure he's a
PR
smart
piece, yeah.
guy. I'm sure he's a smart guy. He got investors to do this. I just don't think it's a big future. I don't know. Although when you think about it, as much as people are dumping this Rhino thing, every Rhino hi-fi is not for everybody, and that's always been the case. I still think, two of the ones that haven't been selling a lot too were Emmylou Harris and Graham Parsons, and that Graham Parsons is fucking amazing. People, slept on that because it's not fucking Black Sabbath or that rock and roll.
But a lot of the people that want that probably have it, and the originals are good.
You could say that about anything. If everybody had Black Sabbath already, I mean, come on.
Yeah, different.
No,
different
well,
groups.
hold on,
totally get
Mazzy. Actually, you're kind of making my point for me when you mentioned Black Sabbath. Here's the reason you're making my point.
Oh, I understand why it sells.
That's a record that's highly in demand.
Yes.
That
yeah.
Belladonna is not the same as both of the Black
Sabbath.
Sabbath.
I'm not defending Belladonna. I think Belladonna is not a good choice.
Well,
But I
even
think
even the Wilco record.
Well, I thought the television records were great choices, and people initially weren't quite sure about television.
Yeah, well, I think the television and the Cars first record, as far as the Rhino.
But the car,
Hi-Fi,
I mean, to me, the
hold
Cars.
on, let me finish.
The Cars,
The
really?
Cars does. Hold on, I'm saying words without finishing, and you're judging them. As far as the television and the Cars go, they were limited pressings, and they did not do the same thing as they eventually very quickly did with the Black Sabbath. Now, the Cars is coming out and the television is coming out. They're doing the same thing. They're mass producing them. So
Good.
they created a FOMO situation with both those titles initially.
But Rhino still puts out more reissues, better reissues than every other label. I mean,
Well,
why
we're not-
doesn't Sony and not Sony, Sony and what's the other one? That's the third big one. BMG are the other big two of the three major labels. They don't do any of their own quote audiophile stuff.
Here's the problem with Sony, and as far as a digger and buyer person perspective, Sony does do nothing. Very
Right.
But they do rely on the secondary reissue company,
Music on Vinyl and MoFi
and Chad.
Yeah.
And if someone can confirm this with me, it's my understanding that they either outright own Music on Vinyl or they're a big a partner of theirs.
I think it's true.
So that's how they don't directly put out these reissues. And here's one thing Sony does. So they own the Miles Davis, and they have a special Miles Davis website, and they kind of keep everything there. But they rely on the secondary people.
Yeah.
So there's no concerted effort.
But they won't release the tape. Now, I don't care if they're DSD personally. I'm not one of those have to be all analog, but Sony won't even let anyone do their tapes anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, very few. Chad got those outtakes, and that's pretty amazing.
I just wish Rhino would make the albums the same size as every other jacket. So they fit in the sleeves okay?
Actually, he explained how he got the rights to do that Birth of Blue record.
And how was that?
As I remember, he said that he approached them, and it was sort of just kind of a happenstance, talking to another person and then this person, but they wouldn't give him the tapes. So he asked, well, I'm not an expert on technical, but the real tapes were like a 3-track tape. And he said, look, can you just make me a 2-track copy of the tape?
Oh, so he got a 101 dub, probably.
Right. So he had to really negotiate to get this.
Well, that's good he did that. That's good he did that then. I applaud him for that. Yeah. UMG doesn't. I mean, Universal puts out so much music, but they don't do any. You think they'd have an audiophile label? Sony fired a few months ago a lot of their big catalog people.
Can I show? I actually have a record to show that Mazzy's been clamoring for.
Okay.
And when I say clamoring, I'm being stupid. Mazzy doesn't care for this. So my buddy Brad at Omnivore, this is their big reissue coming out. And people can laugh, but the Christopher Cross's first album, and it's a double album because it also includes demos and stuff. Right. But Christopher Cross was not involved with this reissue for a couple reasons. He does not care, and years ago sold his catalog.
Okay, let me ask you this, Rob. Let me ask you this about that. Now, it's cool they did that because people like that record, but just like Belladonna, which sold a lot, that sold a lot. Are people clamoring for that? What's the difference?
Well, okay, hold on.
It's like a $2 record.
I have an explanation. Exactly. I have an explanation for you why this makes sense. So you are correct, but every time you find this, it's shit. It really is. They
really? Okay, I haven't looked for it.
But here's the second thing. The reason Omnivore can exist as a company is for the majors for titles they don't care to release. That really is Omnivore. Other than exclusive, like they have a deal with Art Pepper's Widow. That's why they put out a lot of his stuff.
Right.
They're about to put out America's third album. They have a deal with America. And all this other stuff. And then the company that now owns Christopher Cross's catalog, and he got a good chunk of change for it, is monetizing it and came to them to put this out. So that's how
tours with America.
That's how these small reissue companies exist.
But I think there's a lot of things like that's a yacht rock record, and it's definitely got a following. It'll do okay. The same with Impex, and I think there's sending me one, which is interesting because I almost didn't want them to send me one, which sounds kind of weird to say because I know Westman's doing a stream. Impex is putting out souvenirs by Dan Fogelberg. I've never been a Dan Fogelberg, and they're doing I don't know how they got that because that's Sony, so I don't know if they got the copy tapes or what. It's a good sounding record. It's that acoustic-y stuff. I just never been a Fogelberg fan. So there are audiences for these things. I mean, just like Wilco. And I think just because the Rhino Hi-Fi's, they're like every 2 or 3 months, having 2 titles shines a light on it. When I first heard that they did Belladonna, or they're doing Belladonna, I was in Easy Street and looked in the Stevie Nicks section. They had 2 copies they were selling, used copies, aside from the reissue. They had one copy of the reissue. The 2 used copies, and Seattle's more expensive than was $25 for Belladonna.
Well, they put out
a double one recently.
No. My friend put out. Someone was mentioning they just put out a rare Dan Fogelberg record, but I mean, what are they going to do? They're a reissue company, and it's really hard for them to get titles, right?
You know, the heapster. This thing about yacht rock is not a genre. Anything is a genre, people make it. I mean, prog, art rock, symphonic rock, shoegaze, are those genres? Someone eventually just threw that name on it. Indie rock is fucking everything that's not on a major label, and even REM was considered
okay.
indie rock.
Let's
College rock.
Right. Hold on. Everything. I mean, there are 4 major categories, right? There's
Hi, Jim.
rock. There's rock. There's
Hello.
country. There's rock. There's country. There's soul. But every other thing is an offshoot created by somebody.
Absolutely.
So for you to poo-poo yacht rock, which people are making money on, and if they can make money on this by saying like a reissue of a famous yacht rock record, it's all marketing. It's all marketing.
I don't remember when I bought. I think the first quote prog record I bought when '69 was Court of the Crimson King. I don't remember anyone calling it a prog record. It became that.
I'm into a subgenre of yacht rock. It's yawl rock. A yawl is a double mast. The second smaller mast is behind the cockpit.
Of course, it's my only opinion.
Rock.
Hold on. Jim has a subgenre of yacht rock. It's when he gets into his bathtub and pretends he's in a sinking ship.
Okay. Also, like Americana and alt country. You know, I mean, there's
roots.
Yeah, there's so many genres.
When did Americana become a thing, Mazzy? When did that become a thing?
Well, I would say in the 90s, you know, and bands like Wilco, they actually, Uncle Tupelo was one of the first bands, that Andaline album, that people started throwing the term alt country to Uncle Tupelo. They weren't the first at that. Remember, Graham Parsons was alt country.
Here's the thing to think about. When the Academy of Music, Arts, and Sciences dubs a new category to give a award to, that's when it becomes a genre.
Right.
I promise.
You know, it's kind of like, there's hip hop, there's trip hop, there's urban. I mean, there's so many different subgenres.
What happened to New Jack Swing? Does anyone remember that? New Jack Swing?
There's so many. Yeah.
Where was your who complained about yacht rock? Where was your outrage when someone said New Jack Swing?
I never heard that in my entire life.
It's a genre.
Yacht rock is all they played on the Titanic.
It's sort of pop hip hop soul.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I mean, psychedelic rock. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Punk rock. Now, post-punk, okay? Post-punk is punk. It's just the only difference is the bands knew how to play their instruments better, pretty much.
Well, it became it was pop. It was radio friendly punk music.
Not necessarily. It was dance beats. It was. I mean,
what do you think that is? It's radio friendly.
But all post-punk bands had different sounds. Like Joy Division was different than Young Marble Giants. I mean,
I don't see what those had anything to do with punk. To me,
well, they came out of the
punk.
Let
me give you the perfect. Here's the perfect band that was a punk band, The Clash, but they had a hit song in the late 70s in America that was a top 40 song. So when those bands started,
that was later.
No. I was listening.
But you're talking about The Clash?
The Clash.
Well, that was like 80. That wasn't until 80.
No. Before
what was
that.
the top 10 hit?
I'll look
Rock
at
and the Casbah.
Because I was listening.
Should I stay or should I go?
I was listening. Hold on.
Rock and the Casbah.
Can I fucking talk? Shut up, everybody. I got something to say.
Rock the Casbah later.
You've been talking since you got on here.
Oh, hold on. There you go. You're
Vain
silent.
Vain,
you're silent.
That wasn't a top 10 hit.
And you're silent. Now I can talk. There, Harry's being a baby. I was listening, which I do every weekend, to Sirius, the 80 top 40 countdown of the 80s from 1980. There was a Clash song that was released in 79 that became a hit before their big album. Before the big album. What was it? But I'm going to go look it up now, okay? And that was the top 40 song for the Clash in the U.S.
Well, Rock the Casbah was, but that was in the 80s.
No, this was before that. Oh, Wait in Vain. That song was a top 40
Vain
song.
in Vain was not a top 10 hit.
It was a.
I think it was.
It was a radio hit.
It was a radio hit.
It was a top 40 hit in the U.S. 100%.
Well, now you're saying 40. Okay. Well, let's see.
I know. I said that. Can anyone in the peanut gallery who heard me talk when Mazzy was talking over me tell Mazzy that I said top 40? I didn't say top 10.
Right,
and I'm going to tell you, here's their songs that were top 40 U.S. songs that the Clash had. Okay?
Okay. In America, okay, it was number 23. It hit 23 in America.
Wait in Vain, right?
No, it's Train in Vain.
Train in Vain. Sorry.
It hit 23. And to be honest, Rob, it was 1980.
Mazzy, just say you were right, Rob. I was wrong.
It was 1980, though.
It's interesting, Mazzy, because 1980 is the year that Rob said it came out.
No, Mazzy, I said, here's what I said, because Mazzy doesn't like to listen. I said that album came out when, Mazzy? When did London Calling come out?
79.
And then that song was a hit in 1980, exactly what I said. This is exactly what words came out of my mouth. So don't misunderstand what I said. So what I'm saying, in my mind, and I'm not the authority, the Clash were a post-punk band. They became radio friendly. They were the punk band. It maybe, I don't think, to me, Blondie's not a punk band. They were the first punk band to have a top 40 hit, at least in the U.S.
In the
I'm
US,
sure in England,
Sex
maybe
Pistols had in the UK. Sex Pistols had in the UK.
Right. So when you have a top 40 hit, are you still punk? Are you post-punk? Or what are you?
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Yes, it does.
I mean, shit.
Why?
Punk,
why would having a top 40 hit
because they became the mainstream and people gave it a title.
Okay, what is?
I don't think they necessarily became the main.
Who do you think is the biggest punk band that really crossed over in the States? American punk band that became massive, but not until the 1990s. Green Day. They were power.
No, there had to be an American band before Green Day.
Not a punk band.
What were the Romantics? What were the Romantics?
They weren't a big band. I mean,
yes, they
I'm talking
did.
major.
They had a hit.
Major. Romantics weren't a big band. Green Day, exactly. Green Day, and it took like Green Day. I just recorded a video, and Green Day's in it because when they were playing Gilman Street in Berkeley, they were a punk band. But they were young punks in the 1990s.
Mike Sharona's not.
They're not new wavy. No, new wavy had the Romantics and this. Tom Petty was considered new wave in terms of ABC Records marketing. They tried to push him in the new wave thing on his first couple of records, and he really wasn't new wave, but he really wasn't just normal boomer rock either, and he mixed it really well.
I'm not sure that.
Yeah, exactly.
The ability to play your instrument. Some people can play and they're still punk.
I know. I've used that as a
you cannot be hardcore punk.
Joel,
play your instrument.
London Calling was way before Rock the Casbah, and they had a hit song in the U.S. from that album.
Yeah, but Train of Vain is a dance song.
It was not a disco song.
It's a dance song, though. Joel is right. I agree. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Joe.
No.
Train of Vain is a dance song. Mick Jones did the dance side of things for the Clash. And that was a Mick Jones song.
No, you people are horrible at lying.
No,
the only punk band I give a shit about is Fear.
Well, they're a hardcore punk band.
That's it for me. That's punk.
But we go back now to in terms of the
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And it comes back to why Pink Floyd finally had a top 10 hit with a disco song. People like dance songs around that late 70s, early 80s. I mean, disco maybe was kind of
who is London Calling? What label? What label was what?
Columbia, Sony. Columbia.
Sony? So they're not doing anything with that shit.
No, which is really too bad. I mean, you're right. Someone should do do Clash catalog.
I'm sorry. Way. Anyone who's calling Rock the Casbah a disco song came out in 83, right?
It's not a disco. It's a dance song. It's not a disco song.
Post new wave.
How is that any different than
they played it in the clubs in San Francisco. They played it in the clubs in San Francisco.
I know.
Another song they played.
Are you picking your nose?
Another song.
I'm just waiting for a moment that I'm able to say something.
No, in the
No,
80s,
well,
they played.
hold on, Harry, and let me make this clear to everyone here. I'm talking and making a point, and then you come in and talk over me. That's when I'm upset. But I'm being silent now.
You never
You're free to
stop
talk.
talking, though.
No, that's your take on it.
Okay,
But you
well,
don't listen.
Anybody
Hold on, Harry.
watching,
Hold
I
on.
think,
I'm
would
being
agree
honest
with
now.
me.
Harry, you don't listen. So if you can say I don't stop talking, Mazzy just talked for at least 3 or 4 minutes without me talking. So say what you want to say, Harry.
I'm just saying it's hard to get a word in edgewise.
No, it is. Harry, stop it. No, it isn't. You just don't listen.
Let's do a poll.
No poll. This is me talking sense. I have no problem with you expressing your point. But when I actually start talking and about 30 seconds into it, you talk over me, that's the issue I have.
You know,
That's
I think
exactly.
Rob,
People can go watch and see what everyone does.
I think if you just didn't argue about being interrupted,
I'm not
it
arguing
would
about
flow
anything.
better.
I'm telling you, I talk for about 30 seconds.
But see, now
and then
you're
you
arguing
start
about
talking over me.
process. Just talk. Just say whatever you want to say.
I did. Again, here, I'm going to say this clear so everyone can hear, especially you three on screen. I'm talking about 20 or 30 seconds into me talking. You start talking over me.
But
That's
see,
what
you're
I have an
talking
issue
about
with.
it again. Just talk
See, he
about
just did it again. He's doing it
I
again.
am. Just talk about jazz. Talk
Mazzy,
about punk.
Harry, express your
Don't
point.
talk about
I
the
will be silent.
process. God,
Don't be a baby. Stop
I
acting
made my
like a
point.
baby.
the babies were new wave.
No, they were not.
Sure, they were.
The babies were like a power pop, right?
Yeah, but power pop and new wave crossover. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Record Collector News did a cover story a long time ago about the roots of punk rock in Los Angeles. And it was where people who were left out, who were left out of the scene could get together. People who were not handsome enough, people who didn't really play well enough, people who were gay, people who were this, who were that, people who were ostracized from the community. And a good portion of punk rock was gay bands. They just were not allowed to be in any other scene. It got replaced right away. It got kind of knocked out, but it started with a lot of gay bands in Los Angeles that were
And
just
what's great about it, those bands wouldn't get booked in normal clubs, so that some interesting entrepreneurs took over places like Madame Wong's.
We did a cover story called Queercore, and it was hardcore queer. That's what one of the foundations of punk rock in Los Angeles was.
But they were taking over these unusual places, like I said, Madame Wong's, a Chinese restaurant in San Francisco, the Filipino restaurant.
Well, there was the place,
Gardens.
There was the place where people lived on Sunset.
Oh,
Can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
But
it was a lot of alternative spaces. They just kind of took over and said, "Hey, your place is empty on Thursday nights, Wednesday nights. Can we play?" Circle Jerks, yeah, all those bands. Like
no, hold on. I think Delphina's insulting all of us on screen. Here's my understanding of how things historically worked. Was it a radio DJ that would break a band, right? So, at least in LA, which Jim has more historical context than I do, it was like K-Rock, right? When K-Rock broke a band, they broke so many bands in this time period. It might have been New York people that broke bands in the 60s and 70s. But here, LA broke a lot of these bands, right? Am I wrong about that?
And WNEW and K-San Radio in San Francisco. And
so when these bands
in San Francisco,
K-Rock wasn't like a fringe radio station, was it?
No. Yes, it was. K-Rock, in the late 70s, early 80s, I know DJs that were on K-Rock in Pasadena that would, 11 o'clock at night, ask their listeners, can anyone come over and I need a little pick me up? and someone would drive over to the studio and offer them cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the kind of shit.
Well, that was always, yeah. You know, the indie.
What's that have to do with breaking a band?
Oh, totally.
Well, I'm just saying. You said they were big and mainstream.
That was a form of payola.
They were not big. They were not mainstream.
Well, wait. Then how did they have the power to break bands in the U.S.?
Because people who listened to that stuff, that genre, that was their station. But KLOS and KMET were much bigger.
Yeah. You know, another big thing.
There were a lot more people going to other clubs than Perkins Palace to go see these punk bands. But they still went to a certain, group went to go see to Perkins Palace.
The big change in Tacoma, that when the first Elvis Costello record came out, I called them up and asked them to play a cut off of it, and they said, "We don't play that kind of music."
Bonnie Simmons, KSAN Radio broke Elvis, first station to play Elvis Costello in '77. You know, a big change though in the whole record environment was in the early '80s with college radio. Record companies ignored college radio. They wouldn't service the stations, giving them records promotion. And these indie bands, whether it's REM, Camper Van Beethoven, I mean, a lot of other bands I can't think of often. All of a sudden, they were servicing college radio. Did a lot of bands then, and in fact, years later, in the late '80s into the '90s, finally the record labels would have a college promo person that would just do the college stuff, and they broke a lot of bands in. Nirvana, that was a little different.
College stations, there were punk stations, there were different genre radio stations. But once, by the mid '80s, the programming at K-Rock became that program director went nationwide, and they started just programming everything like that.
You could almost call REM yacht rock, some of it.
No.
Come on.
No. Sorry, Harry.
Man on the Moon?
I mean, Man
on the Moon is not yacht rock.
They don't even have a song about a boat, do they? Seven Chinese
Brothers. It has nothing to do with yacht rock. You don't have to have a song about it.
It took me many years to get into REM, but I finally did.
I worked with a girl from Georgia who told us all about REM.
Well, wait, I let you talk, Carrie, and that's all you got?
Sorry.
Yeah, they're different people. Rodney Bingenheimer definitely in LA, Howie Klein in San Francisco, and some of the who ended up
there's a guy selling the Record Collector News July-August 2012 issue number 27, the Queercore cover story, on eBay for $15 right now if you want to.
There you go.
Did you ever send the new issue to Atomic Records yet?
You know what I did? I checked them off on the list and didn't send it. So it's in my car. I'm going to do it today.
Okay, thanks.
Here's my question.
But I'm a little nervous. How many copies of Bob Marley do they have left?
Oh, they probably got 15 at least.
They do, huh? They're not moving that many.
Yeah, if you don't want to send them, I'll find it somewhere else.
Why don't I mail it to you?
No, that costs you too much money. I can get it. I can get it. I just got to drive to get it.
I'm letting them talk, and they're doing something. It's like
if you can get it at Georgetown Records. Georgetown Records has it probably, right? Go to Georgetown.
Where's Talia? We're down in Tacoma.
Where? Oh yeah, but you're at Turntable Treasures,
right? You don't like that guy?
No, I like him, but nobody goes there.
You think the Beatles were yacht rock because they did Yellow Submarine?
You guys are crowbarring songs into the yacht rock genre.
Okay, Harry, you want to talk about the Beatles box now?
Jim, when you go in his store, everything is packed so tight you can't even flip. You got to pull records out in order to look at what's in there. It's like I don't even. I like him personally as a person, but man, that's a tough
I hate that when
going.
stores do that too. I hate that. Bastards. Yeah, I can't stand that.
Oh.
All right. Well,
I think that's
hold
the
on.
end of the
Where
show
else
for
Hold on.
today.
you don't
Here's
shop at
someone.
Tacoma.
Here's someone to settle it.
Good. Good.
Am I allowed to talk yet?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. Sorry,
Do you
I
have
didn't want
do you have a Mazzy Posse membership card?
You know, that was just so humbling. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, I did he tell you that after I actually went over to the guy that actually recognized him and like started digging and like started talking to the guy and it's nothing, zero. And then Jim and then Jim gets recognized by an Elvis impersonator and some other guy. And so
Oh, yeah.
I'm like going, great, even Jim gets fucking recognized here. And so
That's
at that
because
point,
you have a beard now, a bigger beard.
so at that point, I realized that Rob was part of your entourage, Jim was part of Rob's entourage, and I was part of Jim's entourage. So I was such a low-level entourage person that I didn't feel comfortable even walking in their shadow. Not that Jim cast a
were
very
the
big shadow
turtle.
at all.
No,
Jim
you're
cast
part of
probably
the
the
Zep
shortest
Pearl Project Gemini entourage, and
Hey,
Bip Bop
Yeah.
Boom.
So yeah, I mean, I was definitely you know, like humbled in Los Angeles for sure. Yeah.
so
Maybe next time I'll wear a T-shirt that says, you know, I got interviewed by Darko Audio or something. I don't know. Maybe I just need to, you know, I don't know.
How
about I
Whatever I'm doing, I'm
like
not doing it right, man. It's so disappointing, you know.
Hey,
to
let's
yeah.
listen. Poetry on Plastic, stay in your place. You're part of the Rob
it's a
entourage.
circle.
You know, I blame Michael for losing a lot of time for digging because apparently now Rob is looking for classical records now too. So it's not just him sitting on the floor looking through jazz records. He's sitting on the floor looking through classical records. So
Record store owners love it when Rob shows up because they know when he leaves, that section the floor will be dusted. It'll be clean as a whistle.
yeah,
Hey, can someone document this in the annals of history?
But I will tell you, everybody should experience at least once in their life Rob and Jim arguing for hours about where to eat and which restaurant is better than, like, the restaurant you chose, Rob, sucks. No, Jim, the restaurant you chose sucks.
Where did you go
Back
eat?
and forth. Actually, I have to give it to Jim. Jim took me to the best spot with some street tacos that were really
that was
really
good.
fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those type, it was very good. But those type of places are a dime a dozen in LA.
No, they're not. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
best
they are.
one. There are places like that are a dime a dozen, but a good one is not a dime a dozen. We drove past a lot of those places where there was no one there. And when we got to that one, there were 12 people in line. So that tells me that one's better.
Oh,
It
no,
was really good. It
not-
was really good.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I've seen more elaborate setups and stuff like that. If they get a bigger following,
Hey, I live in a food desert, man.
grow.
For my neighborhood, that place was good.
That place
Those
was
is
good.
good as
It was really good. And the lesbian breakfast place was good.
Yeah, that place
that
is
place was good.
Yeah.
But the only
Lesbian
reason
cowboy
he go
breakfast
there is he
place.
drives a Subaru.
well, that's a lesbian cowboy breakfast place.
That was very interesting. All lesbians in a George Strait cowboy shrine. I'm like going, this doesn't jibe with, you know.
Yeah.
The whole,
It's like Georgetown here.
yeah, it's like it's really
Well,
really cool place though.
Nice people. Super nice.
Big
people.
portions. Don't order, split
It's a
whatever
family
you want.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
This is typically when Jim and I discuss somewhere to eat. I go, where do you want to go, Jim? And Jim goes, there's this place, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but it's closed. It's closed now.
Hey, Jeff Myers, the head of Sony, this movie studio or the record division, or both? I don't know.
Actually,
Well, I would
Fluffy
assume-
Chauncey did take a picture at Record Safari, so there is proof. Although it was funny
we
because
didn't
it was stupid because Rob was on an angle on an
An
incline.
incline.
So Rob's at the top, then me, then Chauncey, and then Jim. I'm like going.
Oh, a picture of Chauncey?
It makes Jim look even shorter than
Yeah, it
he
makes
actually
me look
is.
like I'm about 3 feet tall.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I am,
pretty
in
funny.
fact,
Yeah.
Well,
Mayor. Not
here's the
only
deal.
is she merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead.
Here's the well, I'm gonna tell a joke that Patrick found very hilarious. But Fluffy, the proof will be when you go to Patrick's next auction, he will be selling a lot of the records he found.
I
So
can
there
leave
you
a
go.
price tag for Record Safari on one of them if you want to see that. So.
You know what's interesting? I texted to the group. I did that auction, the whatnot, and I didn't realize until I print out the labels. They send you you can download a PDF, and all the labels and packing slips are it's collated by whoever. Like if someone bought 6 things, it's collated, and you know exactly how many shipments you have. Like I think I sold 26 records. I had 16 shipments, but one guy bought 2 records from South Africa, and I looked on the postage because it shows the amount. It was $90 to ship those 2 records. So the guy paid $90 to shipping.
What were the records?
There you go. There you go, Fluffy, right there.
They were.
Cuba.
I think one was one of the double 45 Doors records, and it might have been the Billie Holiday
There you
double
go.
one too. I'm little by little. I'm selling off my 45 RPMs because I just don't care about the format.
Didn't you sell off your Music Matters 45 RPMs to me? A handful of them to me?
Not to you.
We traded, didn't we?
Not
we traded.
you. I sold them
Yeah,
to
we did.
someone.
No, we traded. You and I traded. Yep.
Oh, maybe.
When I first.
Oh, that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
But I sold all my 45s to one person. She can say who she is. I don't know. I'm going to talk about her, but and now I just sold all my Doors ones at the auction last weekend, and a few little by little. I don't know about the Bill Evans. Eventually, I might get rid of that box too, as the OJ.
Let me. I still have a lot of records to show, but let me.
When I got home, I did have the. I did find that the 2 Bob Marleys were here. So
Did we talk about my 2 Grails that I picked up?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
but
God.
you talked about it.
Oh, on Rachel's show.
Do you have them in your hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have them in his hand.
he has one less than he did have because so here's funny. So see, he has this record, right? So we come back. So we come. So he makes this story about how he wants to like insert this record and fool people. And I've still got records there from yesterday at his place waiting to pack them. So we sit down. Rob takes off, and we're sitting there, and he goes, you should just take those records and put them in the box and pack it up. And I said, no, I want to go through it because some I want to take home with me in my bag. So I don't some of the expensive ones. And he goes, oh, this is gonna suck. This isn't how I wanted it to be. And I'm like, going, why? What's going on, dude? What's happening? He started getting all sullen, and I'm like, going, what the fuck? And so then I'm putting him in there. Then I see the Mac Davis record that he was trying to sneak into my pile to take home, so that I would go home. And yeah,
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah,
I got 2 of these in one day. Chauncey found me one, so
yeah. So blame Chauncey for one of them.
fucking thrilled. Yeah,
So-
here we go.
You got to get him to sign those.
I don't know.
Well, wait, someone wrote something on the chest of Mac Davis.
This one says Mac Davis, Midnight Crazy. Oh, Skyrider.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
understand, everyone. Those are the records that are in Jim's. Okay, so I got a box from the In-Groove yesterday that I ordered. I paid for, and I got the 45 version. This is the Atlantic 75th that Chad did. Mingus. I think he did 3 Mingus records. This is the second I've gotten, and this sounds excellent. This is really good. I know it's 45, but here's one I want to tout. And anyone who's a jazz fan, maybe even if you aren't, this thing is excellent. So this Joe Henderson Woody Shaw jazz patterns that the In-Groove has a color variant of blue vinyl. He only has 20. He told me he only has 27 left. He did 150 of this color variant. I'm going to tell you something. I've never been disappointed by these Real Gone reissues. They sound excellent. And this record originally was going for like $150 or more. But they reissued it. It sounds killer. And no one talks enough about this Got a Groove Records, who did the pressing. They always put their records in these rice sleeve inner sleeves. This sounds killer. It is really good. So it's coming out in black vinyl. It's not expensive. And this was there's a very expensive Joe Henderson Live at the Lighthouse record. This is part of that show, which Orin Keep News sold off. I don't know, understand that. This is excellent. Go get it. It's killer. There, I did my commercial. But
Can
I paid.
I pitch you a Chad record?
All right,
Or
let's see. Is this an opportunity to show the Mac Davis again?
No. So I've had this record, which is a Chad record, Hugh Masekela Hope. This is 2 45 RPM records. Phenomenal sounding record. Killer. I first heard it at Axpona in Chicago on an amazing system, VTL and Vandersteen. Just great, crazy. So anyway, I had a credit at Analog Productions or whatever. And so I got this one. This is brand new. I guess it's pretty new. And it's 4 records at 45 RPM. There's twice as much music. Sounds.
Too bad it's not 8-sided, 1-sided.
Crazy good. Well,
that is a great sounding live record. It
this
really
is an amazing sounding record.
Is that the one you made me listen to at your place? Is that the one you made me listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
You're not going to say there's more air in it. That's what audiophiles say. There's more air in it.
No, I'm going to say what I'm going to say is this: the original one that Chad did was out of print.
It was better than the Jack Jones you made me listen to in the car.
This was selling for like $100, and now for 130 or something, you can get this box with 4
Worst car playlist of all time was in Jim's car. I swear to God, it was horrible.
Yep. It's Patrick. Here's the problem. Jim has all this time. He's sitting around doing nothing, looking at Mac Davis albums. He could make very easily a playlist. Even with Siri, make a playlist. You go into Jim's car, it's like the playlist that came with the.
But here's what it is. You never hear a whole song. It's like he doesn't have the patience to listen to an entire song. Before the song's over, Jim is on to the next thing. It's like
that's not true. It has to be a good song. And if the right song hits, I will play as I'm driving. I will play air guitar. I'll play 2 instruments and drive with my knees. It's the right song.
Here's a
path. The same way.
Yeah.
Here's a path for that happening, Jim.
Life's too short.
Delete the playlist you already have in your phone, and then we'll move forward.
That is, I don't even know what that is. That's Apple, and they call it Jim's.
No,
I don't know what it is. It might be some of it. Some of it, I think, is shit that I burned 100 years ago.
I know for a fact that we did not hear all of Punky's Whips. So I know for a fact that Punky's Whips was interrupted. So,
Patrick, have you ever bear witness to this?
I think it was interrupted by. You know what that was interrupted by? I'll tell you what that was interrupted by. These 2 guys, when their blood sugar goes low, forget about it. You got to feed them. You have to feed them.
Jim,
I never complained about. Well, I got a little hungry when we were at the flea market, but everyone was hungry at the flea market. So,
like, Jim puts on a song. It's typically a young girl depressing song, and he can't listen to it. And here's what Jim says: "Hey Siri, play Frank Zappa's 'Butt Cheeks Are Spread for You,'" and then Siri goes, "Here's Llewellyn Davis's 'Smells Like Roses.'" Like Siri didn't even understand what he said.
Well, no, we didn't make barbecue at Jim's house. So here's what happened with the food at Jim's house. So we're sitting there. Go ahead, let Rob tell it.
Okay. So Patrick goes, "I'm hungry. I need to eat something. I want tacos." He goes, "Okay, we get tacos." Then Jim's wife, sweet, nicest, giving, generous lady,
puts up with Jim.
Doesn't want to have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
Jim comes in. Sherry's making street tacos.
Street dogs.
If anyone's been to LA, LA street dog is exactly this. It's a person brings out a cart and it's a hot dog wrapped in bacon that they cook and then there's an assortment of peppers and onions, and they make a street dog. That's what it, and it's a old-fashioned hot dog that they
Oscar
use.
Mayer,
Oscar, no, they probably use better. It's like a Farmer John, which is the brand in
Okay.
LA.
Okay.
Jim comes in. Which one do you want? Apple. It's two Trader
Chicken
Joe's
apple,
artisan
chicken apple.
sausages.
These were Trader Joe's versions of a street dog.
So they're like
No, they were
Bruce Adele's, but Trader Joe's.
There were Trader Joe's versions of artisan sausage.
Yeah.
Those places are really popular at night.
We passed on the street dogs twice. So.
As the bars and the clubs close, those bacon wrapped hot dogs are huge in the Mission District.
But we drove up and got some tacos that were good.
Yeah,
tacos
They used
are great.
to do it outside the Tractor Tavern after the shows, but they haven't done it for years.
And to be fair, we walked in and there was only some onions sitting there caramelizing. It would have been like an hour before we would have eaten. So
Yeah, these guys were, like I say,
Yeah,
I was in good shape because I had a piece of cake.
you had a brownie. Well, that's another thing. Jim thinks that anything at a bakery is a piece of cake. He ate a fucking brownie, and I had like a bun. He called that cake. It's like everything was cake. I'm like, oh, dude, that's not cake.
Whatever. It's a piece of cake.
Then he had that brownie that sat in the hot car. And I don't know what it was like.
Safari Record Safari. What was that place?
Yeah. That was where we went.
That's where we went.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, but not.
Good
But a brownie is not a cake.
Flour. It's cake-like material.
Jim's attitude, like if you order a hamburger, you usually get fries with it, right? Jim's attitude is when you order a hamburger, you get a chocolate shake with it.
Yeah, I'm not a fries guy anymore.
Vanilla shake, and then you dip your fry into the shake.
Oh God, fucking nasty is that.
Good. Okay, all right.
Seriously, you've never dipped your French fries into a milkshake?
No.
We used to go to Sizzlers. They didn't have shakes at Sizzlers. We would go to Sizzlers and sit in the back and smoke when we were teenagers. Order a Coke and smoke.
I almost got an RVG, but Rob talked me out of it. So.
Of what?
I remember. I don't remember what it was. We were sitting there, and you said, "That's."
We had an opportunity.
It's got Van Gelder in it.
Oh, we're talking records. I was still talking food. We had an opportunity to go to the Oinkster, but we went to Lucky Boy instead.
No, hold on. Patrick had a cutoff time where he had to be at the airport. If we went, I had no problem with going to the Oinkster, except it wouldn't allow Patrick to make his cutoff time. That's the only point. That's the only point I had.
By the way, when you left, just Jim and I listened to more shitty music in his music room and made fun of you. But yeah, so
how come you didn't drive to LA?
My ass was burning.
Because I had to go to San Diego first.
Morning,
I flew
Doc.
to San Diego for work, and then
Hey guys.
And then I stayed a couple of days to go hang out. I drove to LA from San Diego and just hung out with these guys for a couple of days. So
You don't have to explain yourself, Patrick. Okay, here's what I've been waiting for with Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert, please explain the process of you being allowed up on the Steve Westman's live stream.
I don't know. No, I've been on Steve's live stream before, and we're kind of, he knows me, and I don't know. He actually treats me with respect. It feels kind of good.
Unlike
what was the text you sent me, Rob?
You won't get that here.
What was the text you sent us, Rob?
I didn't send any text. Calm down.
That's right.
But no, I never knew you were ever up there before.
Yeah, I have been. It's been a while, and mainly because of Susan's illness. He and I have talked a couple times about doing it, and but this time it was a Saturday morning, and so that kind of fit. And this whole thing with the Beatles thing, I was mainly just watching all of that, so I just kind of wanted to participate in something about it. That's it.
Okay. I thought it'd be more of a story.
No, I don't know. He reached out to me, and
who's the guy, the wife beater? Who's the guy wearing the wife beater? The vinyl cowboy?
I don't know Yeah,
There was
Right,
another
Pat,
guy with you up on the stream.
Oh,
What was his
yeah, I
name?
didn't know either of those guys. I liked them both. I've never seen them as far as I can remember.
Michael T's there all the time.
Well,
He's
Michael lives up here. He
Yeah.
lives by Harry.
Right,
He's,
right. Well,
he's
and the other,
typically on there with Westman.
Yeah.
He's kind
I
of
thought
like
he
the
lived in
Ed
Seattle.
McMahon of that show.
yeah, I think he is in Seattle.
He's not part of the entourage, Patrick.
I can't do the entourage. Yeah, Steve Westman has a large entourage, and I'm not even a part of that. I have to like sit behind everybody in the back of the class for that. So
If I go into
entourage
certain,
envy.
if I go into certain record stores, I will have an entourage.
Yeah, I bet that's true.
Yeah, no, not me.
Of who? Cats? Dogs?
No, record stores.
I had someone come up to me. It's funny how I had someone come up to me in a store, Royal Records, about a week ago in Seattle, and he's looking around. You know when they kind of look and he says, "You're Mazzy, right?" He goes, I go,
You
"Yeah."
should
He
say
goes,
no.
"How come you haven't done a video on the Hollies? What's that about?" I said, "Well, I've showed Hollies records."
Although at a record show, I did have some guy ask me, "Who do you think you are, PB Thal?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." So I actually had that happen once. So that was a joy.
Oh.
I go into a record store and the owner goes, "So what's up, Jim?" And I start talking, and my entourage is digging through records, shaking their head. Oh God, that's my entourage.
So we're at the. So I heard certain stories by Jim at least 4 or 5 times, and it got to the point that I was just every time he started, I just go up, dude, I don't want to hear this story again. I don't, and
You did. You wanted to.
yeah.
You know you wanted
Well,
to.
I got a discount at that one place because I made fun of you. So
There you go.
Like, wait, we went into permanent. Lance gave us all the
Lance is a nice guy.
high profile.
Did you have to get in line to look through the bins?
I got a record at Lance. I bought something from Lance. I bought a
I
promo
did too. I
Zappa.
bought a couple things that day we went there.
Hey,
I got several things. If I had my records here, I could remember, but I don't. So
I picked
Did
up.
Rob ship them for you?
Jim said he
Oh.
shipped them to me, but I haven't. I don't see. I haven't gotten a notice yet, but I'm sure.
I
they'll
gave
get
him
there.
boxes. I found this Joe Pass Virtuoso number 4. So now I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have a CD box which has most of his Pablo stuff. But Mazzy, you might like this one if you ever find it, because the second and third were specifically recorded albums. This is a double LP, came from the same recording sessions as Virtuoso number 1. So that just came out as an OJC reissue.
Right.
If you like that album, then if
I
you
do.
ever see this, which I've never seen this before,
I've never seen that one, actually.
this is a great pickup.
Is that about in the early 80s? What year is that?
No. So let me explain it to you again, because no one seems to like to listen to me when I talk. This was recorded at the same time in
I
1973.
understand, but when was it released?
84, 83.
Well, that's what I just said. Early 80s? Ish?
Well, it was released in the early 80s, but
Yeah.
it's the same recording session
I
as
understand.
Virtuoso number 1.
Understand.
So I will say this about the Pasadena City College flea market. There was a lot more sellers than the last time I went. What was it, 8-9 months ago, a year ago? But I have never seen so many overpriced records. I thought I was going to walk out of there with like 40 records or so. I only bought like 10, and that was even hard to. And 6 of those were in a 3 for $10 bin. So there was a lot of sellers, and I saw a lot of amazing stuff, but it was so overpriced. It was just unbelievably overpriced. So it took a lot of digging and a lot of dirt on my hands to fucking.
But you can
come
talk,
up with.
everyone you can talk down.
Yeah.
Like, here's a good clue.
I find
There was
condition
one-
is shitty lately.
Wait, can I finish my thought? There was one guy talking. Literally.
You just said you guys could
I
talk.
thought you were done.
No, wait.
talking.
Again, fuck you, Harry. I was
You
saying
just said
something
it.
and I was interrupted.
Why
I
do
was
you
literally talking.
why do you treat the people as supplement?
No, I wasn't doing. Listen,
Because
I
we're
let
his
all of you.
entourage.
Patrick just told a story. I didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt any of you.
Fine, you're out of my entourage.
Hold on. You just did it again, Mazzy. I was
I
adding
did.
on to Patrick's
did on
story.
purpose.
That's what
I
Massey
was
does.
adding on to Patrick's story, and then Jim talks over me. Let me just get my thought out. I have no problem with anyone expressing the points they want here. But when I try to do it, you talk over me. That's it. I don't know if it's
so
because
finish
of the
your point,
delay
because
or
I have
what.
a counterpoint. Because if you're saying that you can talk people, I had two guys not let me talk them down.
Do me.
Really?
Yeah.
Harry, by the way, Harry's
Did we
throwing
lose
a Harry's throwing one of his typical baby fits.
No, come on.
That's what he literally I'm pointing it out. And Harry will moan and groan about it like he did with Rachel's stream. But he's walking away. He can go back and watch the stream. Every time I try to talk, I'm talked over. That's my only problem. Let me just get my point out. But that's why I'm letting everyone know. That's why Harry's leaving. He's being a baby. He does this. There we go. Let's move on.
Treat
Oh,
Harry and Dr. Rob.
I know one person who's not going to be in your
Respect.
entourage anymore. So.
Well, okay. I'm happy with it. He'll be back when he calms down.
Oh,
May, could maybe show a record?
Go ahead, Dr. Robert. I'm not here to interrupt you.
Are you going to show us the Beatle box?
No. Yeah, no, I already did the talk about that. But this record is amazing, and this guy is amazing. And he, he's one of those guys who kind of fell through the cracks in the States. This is from 1974. A lot of the songs on it he wrote. But the thing I really liked about it is, or that I also found interesting about it, is it's got a copy of Johnny Too Bad, the reggae song on it. And I kind of
be on Island Records. That's why.
And it's on Island Records. I wondered if it might have come out before I Shot the Sheriff by Clapton, which I kind of think of as sort of the first mainstream acknowledgement of reggae, by a Western performer. And but it
Oblada wasn't the first.
Well, is that a reggae song? I don't think it is.
I'm just kidding.
We're just joking. And there may well be something else, but I always think of I Shot the Sheriff as being one of the very early. It turns out that came out a few months before this record, so maybe Clapton, influenced Georgie Fame. But
he's really tight with Van Morrison. They've done records together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And he kind of emulates Mose Allison a bit. That whole thing too.
I think he does channel Mose.
He had a big hit in the UK, couple big hits in the UK in the 60s.
I mean that I think was one.
Yeah, it was massive. I have that record. Yeah.
I've never heard of him before.
Oh, Georgie Fame is
I'm not an expert on everything, but I've never
You're
heard
not.
of him.
Okay. Well, it's worth digging into. He's kind of, he's not jazz, but he's close. He's
bluesy, really.
Yeah, definitely bluesy, an R&B singer, and really good.
It's British pop.
When did he peter away?
He's still around.
Yeah, I think he's still living. Yeah. In fact, I guess he still performs sometimes.
He has toured with Van Morrison as well.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got to go. I got a meeting. I got to go talk to somebody in Sweden.
Take care, Patrick. That was
I'll be
freaking fun.
So did you hear?
So much fun.
The Dutch government just collapsed.
What?
The Dutch
What does that mean?
government collapsed.
Are they tired?
Collapsed.
What do you mean?
I got a news headline. The Dutch government collapsed. I didn't read that because I didn't want to read it while I'm on with Rob. I didn't want to be rude to Rob.
All right, so
I don't want Rob to make me leave.
You could say anything you want, Mazzy, because I wasn't talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about that, Jim?
Van Morrison and Georgie Fame.
Yeah, there you go. What year's that from? You don't have it on your sticker?
95.
95, okay.
Is that
I don't have it on my what?
Hmm?
I don't have it on my what?
On your sticker. I was joking. I was joking.
Is that a reissue or that album came out in 95?
I don't have no idea. It's a I think it's from Europe. I don't know exactly where it's from.
Was that the reason the Dutch government collapsed?
Yeah. Okay, recorded May 3rd, 95 at Ronnie Scott. So this is an original.
Cool.
Here's one thing I learned last night. I was listening to some live.
And this does have Van Morrison on it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I I'm not done.
No, wait. It does. So that big Van Morrison across the top of the cover.
No. I mean, it has it's got Mose Allison on it.
So it must be more modern.
Oh, Miss Allison too.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's a good record too.
Is it live or is it
I don't
studio?
have that one.
Live at Ronnie Scott's.
Live at
right,
Ronnie
right,
Scott.
right.
Here's one thing I didn't know. In Dutch country, about a couple weeks ago they had the Eurovision contest thing, which is stupid, which I don't get. Americans don't get that.
Right.
But one of the big songs was the Dutch entry into the contest, but it was all Swedish. I didn't understand there's a huge component in the Netherlands that is Swedish. Like they have. Did anyone know that? Like, let's just say Mexicans in the US, they have Swedish in there, and they were singing a song in Swedish.
Did they win?
They became in fourth place, I think.
So they didn't win. So does that mean they're going to deport all the Swedes?
I don't know. Look, I've just learned something, and no one's impressed by it. Okay.
No, we're not. We're not.
Eh.
Why don't you berate us now for 5 minutes?
Also, the Dutch government collapsing is a complete.
It's just a parliamentary thing. I didn't read it, but someone in the comments mentioned
It
that.
means the majority party probably didn't
Right.
carry the election.
It's
Georgie
not like-
Fame. Let's go back to Georgie Fame.
Okay.
He's
I
a
don't
very
know.
old man now.
Yeah, he must. He's over 80 now. He's like all those guys. But so
Man pulled him out.
do you want to talk? Hey, have you talked on here about your anti-static devices, Jim? Because it's something I have found that I'm going
This is the season.
It's crazy. My system suddenly is just on fire with static electricity. So you support the product from Humming Guru more than anything else you've used?
Well, that's really all I've used is the Humming Guru and the Milty, the gun, the Milty gun thing.
Do they both?
I think they both work. The Milty is a lot harder to do. You have to really, you can't make it click, and you got to do both sides of the record. And but the Humming Guru thing, which is extremely expensive, $300.
That's a good hit. Yeah,
Just set it down, it spins around, and gets rid of the static electricity. Boom, done.
Cool.
So here's the deal. It's
You know,
not
it's
the Humming Guru one is not cheap. That's $300, right?
It's $300, yeah.
But the one that I see a lot of people getting is that trigger gun.
That's still $100 or $120.
Does anybody? Do you have the Humming Guru?
I do.
I have one. I never opened it. They wanted me to review it, and I can't really use it with my stylus. The stylus? No, that's the stylus cleaner. I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I have the
has both.
anti-static thing.
You
Where
have
is it?
both the stylus cleaner and the anti-static thing.
I just have the stylus cleaner, but I can't
Here's
use
a
it with
perfect
it.
opportunity. Can you just show it, Jim?
I don't
So we
know
can
where
show
it is. I don't know where it is.
It's in that room. Maybe you take it into the chicken shed.
The weird thing is, for me, I guess it's on the record, but golly, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, wait. How dry is it where you live, Dr. Robert?
Well, it's not. It's we get a lot of rain, but
So isn't that the conductor of static electricity?
well, water is a conductor, if that's what you mean.
So this is a 2-in-1 ultrasonic record stylus cleaner and digital pressure gauge. But apparently, I'm not supposed to use it with a micro line with like a Hana or something. So I haven't even opened it, and I was going to review it. But I mean, I
Show the box front again.
I'm sorry.
Show the front of the box one more time. Yeah. Huh. Okay. I've only ever had that little brush, that came with the disc washer back in the day.
Well, I ended up using. I know they went through a good and bad and ugly of the little gel thing, and I do have it just in case because sometimes the brush doesn't get it all. You have to use a gel, or you can use a magic eraser.
I find I I don't know the science behind those things working or not working. So I don't
They
know.
work.
I've never used an
If you have a
anti-static.
dehumidifier, does that help?
A
Yeah,
humidifier helps. A humidifier does help.
I
I
don't have
don't
any.
get much static. I don't get much static here.
I just know that once summer is in full swing here, that's when static happens.
It gets so dry. I could walk up to a record and just the hairs on my arm are like, ah.
Right. I
Well,
hadn't
my
thought.
air purifier actually seems to work too.
If I can keep the humidity around 40%, then I don't get too much static.
Well,
But just the sound of the humidifier on.
Can you stop interrupting us, Harry, please?
Harry, come back, please. Harry, don't leave. Don't go,
The thing about
Harry.
Harry is, God damn, did he get a nice haircut?
I wanted to hear about it, but apparently I interrupt him when he's talking. I talk too much here.
You got time for one more record?
No, but show it. Haven't you shown that one anyway?
Yeah, you show that every other
You
day.
showed that last week.
No, but I wanted to show it again because of the tape removal, which really went just spectacularly and came out. You know, it was fully in shrink, but then there was a price sticker over in this corner that had been removed, and the whole thing was taped down. And I used, is it Herkimer? One of the panelists here recommended using a hairdryer, and man, that just worked like magic. It really was.
Herkimer is a coffee roastery in Seattle.
Well, it was something. Somebody in the Peanut Gallery suggested using the.
Yeah,
there it is, Herkimer. There you
he's
go.
taking credit because actually,
Oh, that Herkimer.
Herkimer has a video on his channel. 10 uses for a hairdryer.
Herkimer, do you know there's a coffee roastery in Seattle called Herkimer, and I think they have one cafe too.
I think you have a lawsuit in your
Coffee
thing.
Julie's Real Fine Coffee uses their beans.
Well,
Very
small
good
world.
beans. Very good espresso.
Is that our friend Herkimer? Is that you, Herkimer, that makes the beans?
No, he's not here. Where's Herkimer live?
I don't know.
I don't
forgot
know,
where
but
you
I
live.
mix up Herkimer with Rex all the time. I think they're the same person.
Shut up, Rob.
Oh, Rob!
Oh, wait,
Okay,
what did you bring in?
The
Static
Honolulu.
thing?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Got it
Where
done.
the fuck? Where was it? Why isn't
the
it in
shed.
your?
Is in the barn.
Why did you dismiss it to the shed?
Because in the winter time, I don't need it. I'm just
What-
starting
what-
to get to where I
What
need
time
it.
are we in right now?
It's just starting to get bad. It hasn't been too bad, but it's starting. It's really starting.
When's the first day of summer? We're still in spring, right?
21st, June 21st is the longest day of the year.
Okay.
The summer equinox.
Not
Here's
to get
the
It's not the equinox. It's
That
the
looks
I'm-
like one of those spaceships in one of those sci-fi.
it's the
shows.
longest day of the year.
longest
It's
day of the
really
year.
born.
Yeah, you don't call it the
Now,
equinox.
can you describe
this-
how you put it on
This,
the unit?
this hole here fits
Yes.
over your
Is
spindle.
it a Dyson automatic vacuum cleaner?
Yes, it is. It fits over your spindle. There's a couple of spacers if you need them. And it goes over your spindle, and you basically just turn it on.
That's too much
on
shit
off
to
the
do. I'm
lamp.
sorry.
Turn it on, and
Does it grind beans? Is it like a mini mazer bean
That's quite.
coffee grinder?
you know, if it ground beans, it would probably be worse for your records then
Okay.
than the way it is. All it does is one thing. It gets rid of the static electricity very well.
So you have to do that every time you put a record on then.
If you live in my record room,
Wow.
you don't have to. You
But
only do it
that's-
if you want the record to sound
Yeah.
okay.
So
If you
isn't
don't
there,
give a
wouldn't
shit.
there be, what, and I'm asking this and I don't know. So I
You don't have
the
static
knowledge.
electricity.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be better to have some device that would just take it out of the room rather than every fucking record you got to, you know?
It would, but so far AI hasn't done that for us yet.
Okay.
So it's just one
Right.
spoon of that, Jim. You put it
No,
on?
it goes around a preset number of times, turns itself off,
Oh my
and
god.
then you
You
pluck it
have
off.
one of those robotic
You can
vacuum
use
cleaners that,
this. You can use this. a
Yeah.
milk
do you have one of those robotic vacuum cleaners that just go around all day and night?
Stop
No, do you?
interrupting us, Harry.
I'm sure you do. Which one do you
I
have?
don't. I don't.
Oh, you will. You will
I
see.
don't like. I just don't like that concept. It creeps me out. I won't.
You just keep it filthy. You just leave it dirty.
I vacuum once a week.
You vacuum
Once a
your
week. Excuse me. Choked up.
Anyway, so
you know,
I
it's
think
a
it
robot.
works. That thing works. A Milty works. If you don't have static electricity where you live, good for you. That's great.
Yeah,
I mean, we get it really bad here. You just walk up to the stereo and zap.
What
I have it at my place right now, really intensely. Worse
wouldn't
than
this
ever.
cause some
remembered.
sort of fire to start, Ricks?
What did he say? After cleaning the record, touch the dead wax?
You have to touch the dead wax and then the edge of the record with your hands. Your body becomes a conductor.
Can I make a pre-announcement? I may be doing. I don't do a lot of interviews, and I may be doing an interview in the next couple of weeks of a guy named David Lowry.
Doesn't work as good.
You know David Lowry.
I like his season salt.
You know David Lowry. David Lowry was the head Kemper, Van Beethoven, and Cracker.
Oh yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah, and he has and he's a one of the vocal people about artists getting fucked in terms of Spotify, and there's a lawsuit that he kind of initiated and settlement with for a lot of artists. They got paid more in back royalties and things. I think with Pandora also, but he has this album out, which is really interesting. Instead of an autobiography, it's a 3-record set, Americana, and I got a copy of it, and I thought I was going to play one side just to kind of get a feel. I played all 6 sides, and it's really good. And it came out of the pandemic in a way, but so I think we're going to do a chat in the next week or two, a couple of weeks.
Does he reside in Seattle or
no? He lives. It'll be on Zoom. He actually lives in Atlanta, and he's now he plays music. In fact, last month or 2 months ago, they played 2 sold-out nights at the Fillmore in San Francisco, the 40th anniversary of Kemper, Van Beethoven. And so what he does, the Cracker, usually he tours, and the first opening act is either Cracker or Camper Van, and then it switches. But he's a professor does things about music copyright, music business.
Where at?
At the University of Georgia, I guess, in Atlanta. He's like, I mean, I don't think it's a full-time.
27 universities in Atlanta.
I don't know. I don't know which one. I'll find out, but I don't know which one.
What band is getting back together? Is it Pavement? I heard one of these bands are putting out new music.
Which band?
Might be either Pavement or Camper.
Well, Camper, they have a new. You know what's really interesting? When Camper, was it Camper? Or I always get Camper or Cracker. They're 2 different bands, sort of. I mean, they are, but
yeah.
In part
of the same part.
Yeah, was it in 2000 or so? They put out. I have a CD of it. It's really cool. It's really out there. They put out a CD, a double CD, covering the entire Fleetwood Mac Tusk, and it's kind of lo-fi, edgy. It's kind of cool, actually. I mean, I like Tusk anyway. I think
it's okay. It wouldn't be the one I'd pick.
Well, first of all, I don't think Rhino has the rights. That's Virgin. So Rhino doesn't have the rights to Camper or Cracker. Some of them are cooking vinyl. Some of them are independent. Well, Record Store Day just they released the first Camper Van Beethoven as a Record Store Day issue, which was excellent.
I think my Omnivore reissued some Camper.
Well, the Cracker records need to become those Virgin records, Cracker records. You know, they had the hit "Low." Was it "Low" on their second album?
Did you see this, Mazzy? I saw
a lot of
this
Camper, but
article that the Davies brothers are recording new music. Did you see that?
They've been talking about that. No, they've been talking about it for 20 years. I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
Davis, you mean?
Davies. Hey, here's
Shut up.
There's another documentary, the Zombies documentary, that they're touring around the country with the lead singer and then the band Rooney, because the documentary was directed by Robert Schwartzman.
Don't you just hate when Rob interviews you?
Robert Schwartzman, who is Jason Schwartzman's brother. He directed the documentary, and then the band Rooney is going to be playing zombie songs I think they're doing it here in LA in July, but that's touring around. Hold on.
It's so funny, Danby, how
change your diaper and come back up.
Both
Harry.
Cracker and XTC are basically want to say fuck you to Virgin Records. I don't know how they just got lost in it, but they got fucked. Both those bands eventually, and they did great records on Virgin. But the Virgin, there's a Music on My Vinyl, I think, put out the first Cracker record, but the one with Big Dipper, that's my favorite.
What's the one with the posted stamp cover?
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's a Camper Van Beethoven.
Oh no, Cracker. Cracker has an album that goes for
with
a lot.
all the little stamps like that. It's Camper Van Beethoven.
No. It's like orange or red.
There's the open tuna fish or open the tin.
Hold on, I'll show the picture so we don't both sound like old
anyway.
guys.
They do need a reissue. Those Virgin records. I don't know. Is Virgin part of? Someone help me. I used to know this, but I don't remember. Is Virgin part of BMG or are they part of a Sony now? I don't think they're part of Warner's.
What is this?
No idea.
Oh, that's the one. That's the Golden Age. That's Cracker.
Yeah, that's the postage stamp cover.
Oh, right. I'm thinking right. I did. Yeah, that's my favorite one because that has the Big Dipper on it, and the Golden Age. That's an excellent record. I found a copy of that at in New York when I went to the record show. And that's not a cheap record now, so that needs.
No, it hasn't been a cheap record for a long while.
I know. It needs to come out. I like Cracker's a little more Americana. Whereas
there's bands that are all, what band who I think is part of that period of time is there a band called Spoon. I like Spoon. Spoon is awesome.
Yeah, I like them. I like Camper Van Beethoven too. I like
Virgin is Universal, so they'll get fucked. Universal doesn't do jack.
You got to pay $1 million.
Cracker record.
Pardon me?
What was that Cracker record?
That's the Golden Age. The Golden Age.
Oh.
That's a good record. All the records are good. I like Cracker a lot because they had it's funny. They came around during that grunge era and they got caught up in a little bit of that, but they weren't a grunge band. But Key Lime Pie is great. All those, I like the one with, Revolutionary with the song Tanya about Patty Hearst. There's such a Russian gypsy kind of edge to their music too, which is bizarre.
Spoon song The Underdog, one of the best songs ever written.
Okay.
I think there was a band called Cracker in the early 70s as well.
Well, I'm part Cracker.
Called a Cracker a lot of times.
My mother was born in West Virginia, so I'm part Cracker.
I saw Hot Tuna perform at the Lion's Share in San Anselmo.
That's a great club. That was a great club.
The billboard or whatever it is said Cracker, one set only, and then in small letters, Hot Tuna. No, Cracker, and then underneath it, Hot Tuna, one set only. And Hot Tuna played all night long.
Camper Van Beethoven started this tour. It was a Camper. I always get confused which one was which. Cracker. They toured. They were headlining, and the opening act was the Counting Crows. And literally, after about 10 shows, that Counting Crows record exploded, and so they had to reverse the order, and they opened up for Counting Crows. And was it the third Counting Crows album? Was co-produced by David Lowery. He produced that record. Anyway, good band, and I just think, I like that. That's part of that college rock, alt rock, indie rock thing, Yeah. It's basically the bands that were on 120 Minutes on MTV.
I know a story. Here's a story that the lead singer of Counting Crows, whatever his name is,
Adam Derwitz.
Yeah, he's not from a guy I know, not such a good guy.
I don't know this guy's person. All I know is when that record came out, it was massive. I liked it. They were a San Francisco band, and the first 3 albums I like. And
Mr. Jones.
I just recorded a video.
Scotty, go check your email, Scotty. You don't want to get me mad. Harry did it already. Look what happened to him.
I like They Might Be Giants too.
They Might Be Giants is awesome. I like them.
My son and I bonded on them because that was the first show I brought my son to at the Fillmore to see They Might Be Giants.
You want to hear one more record? Show one
No.
more record? No? You done?
Well, you have to do it in some sort of organized way, Dr. Robert.
Oh, that's why I asked. So
No, I gave you screen time. You showed one, and then you go, "I'm done." Now you come back with another one.
no, I think we use one to generate some conversation.
Well, you need to fix that record because it looks like one's falling out of the bottom of it.
No, I know I don't have it in there. It's a great record. The band is called Centipede. I think this is their only record, Septober Energy. It's a double record. It's actually, I think it's Keith Tippett and Julie Tippett are the leaders of it, but it's got a ton of interesting folks on it. It's produced by Robert Fripp for one thing. It's got Robert Wyatt on it, and Mike Pato. It's got a bunch of different folks, and it's a very avant-garde out there record. The singing is all wordless singing by Julie Tippett, and it's kind of jazz tinged, but also again very atonal. But
Tippett has a lot of records on ECM. They're not cheap records.
Yeah, this one wasn't bad. That's a British copy. I have a U.S. pressing of it as well that I found out in St. Louis of all places years ago. But at any rate,
all right,
worth looking into if you like any of those names.
You have a dim bit of momentum going, Dr. Robert. Any more records to show?
Well, I always have more records to show, but I don't have to.
Am I allowed to show a new release announcement that's coming out in September? I'm excited about this, but I know there are a lot of old people in the audience that probably have no idea who this band is. However, one of the members of this band put out my favorite record of last year. And the band is Big Thief, and they announced their new album, 2022. Their last album was amazing, and this is coming out September. Big Thief is a little bit, and it was recorded sort of live with minimal overdubs, live in a studio, and their records sound amazing, and they're really well recorded, very organic, very on tape usually. I haven't heard any of this. Double Infinity was just announced this morning. I stopped pre-ordering records, so I'll just buy it when it comes out.
Why don't
but
you share the link in the chat?
Well, I mean, it's just Big Thief. I buy it at your local. I don't need to put a link on it. It'll be everywhere. But if you like Big Thief, if you like Adrian Lenker, that was my #1 record last year. That's a record that actually Doc would like. It's kind of folky, very rootsy, really great songwriting.
Could you please stop interrupting us, Harry? Hey, I have an announcement that I just got.
Scott's backstage, so let him in.
He's not backstage. I'm looking. You're not backstage. All right. So the Craft just announced the new Tony Rice.
I just got that too.
Yeah.
Not the record. The
email. From my knowledge, Bob Bradley, who comes around, he's a big Tony Rice fan. And it was my understanding, Tony Rice, excellent guitar player, but kind of bluegrass tinged, right?
He's newgrass, yeah. His records go for 100+ now.
Yeah, but this is like the second record they've reissued recently. Yeah. So that's available. That was just announced.
Thanks. That's good, Heapster. Keep up with new music. There's great new music coming out.
Hey, now, Heapster, would you want to be part of the Mazzy entourage? We're taking applications.
Club 54.
I don't know who that is.
New music.
Could you stop interrupting? We're trying to talk.
Right. No.
Listen, Plastic Sound Waves. I didn't think about that dude until you mentioned him. That's how much I care. Tony Rice. He's a newgrass guitar player, but very fast, right? Dr. Robert, you want to save the stream with a record?
I can show one more.
I have a lot of records to show too, so let's see this one. Let me be the judge.
still has the price sticker on it. I haven't gotten it quite out.
Well, there's a million stickers on that thing.
I say that's laziness, Dr. Albert.
Yeah, whatever. Doug and the Slugs.
Well, wait a second. I see. Never mind.
Yeah, Doug and the Slugs. I got a couple of records there, and these were both in really nice shape. I found these at Everyday Music in downtown Portland. I think it's the only Everyday Music remaining now. But these guys are a Canadian band from Vancouver, early 80s. These were 82 and what was the other year? 84. And they're just kind of, rock and roll. I wouldn't call it Americana. It's but it's definitely not punk rock. It's not hard rock. It's just I'm
looking backstage, Scotty. You're not in my backstage. I don't see you. Seriously, I'm looking down there. Are you sure? Did you
go send the right link?
I sent him the link I sent everyone this morning.
Okay.
Do you see us up on screen? I'm looking backstage. I don't see you. Seriously. So it's getting dead in here because no one will interrupt me while I'm talking.
You've stunned everyone into silence, Wax.
Now, here, I'll show some records till Scotty figures out how technology works. So Freddy Red, if no one knows who he is, jazz pianist, was on Blue Note. That he, very good, but he fell on hard times. So from what I know, I was told a story by the Atomic guys that he came in, he was living in his car and sold off. He did a couple records for this Interplay Records, which I think was an LA label. One's a solo jazz piano, but this is excellent. This is a trio with him, Henry Franklin, and Carl Burnett. I found this from the Elvis Impersonator flea market, and this is an record.
So the guys from Atomic told you about that?
Yeah, well, he lived in his car in LA, was on hard times.
When you went there, did you trip over boxes of records in the aisles?
No, they've gone through their stock. They need to buy some collections. But he left and went to New York and found some success shortly after that. So but this is a very good record. Very good. Okay. I have a sealed record here. I have a very listen, it looks like Carrie's getting back his mojo. Okay. Hold on, watch. There's the guy who can't figure out technology right there.
Shut up.
I have a beat up copy of this, but then at Permanent, I found a sealed copy of this record, Stan Hunter and Sony Fortune. Stan Hunter was an organ player. This is on Prestige stereo. So I'm going to open this up and see if it came out sounding good. Here's a doctor. I think this is Dr. Roberts' line, but I could be wrong. I find a lot of James Bond soundtracks, but I've never seen this one.
That's a George Lazenby one?
No, I never saw that either.
It's the only record, or it's the only movie ever made. But
right.
I kind of collect James Bond soundtracks just because they're fun.
So do I.
There's a great tongue-in-cheek documentary about George Lazenby that he's in, but in between him, he's kind of being. It's sort of a parody of documentaries, but it is a documentary, and you sort of learn that he really destroyed his career because when they signed him for 5 movies, and then after making this one, he quit. And I think he lived in the Palisades. I occasionally would see George Lazenby out and about, but this isn't a bad James Bond movie. I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I never see this soundtrack anywhere.
His wife dies in the end, right? And he's left.
Yeah, thanks for giving it away, Dr. Robert.
Holding her dead body. Something. Yeah.
This record, this Charles Earland Intensity, is a good record, but it's notable because this is the last appearance by Lee Morgan on a record before he was murdered.
I remember that record from my dad. Yeah, he used to play that a
so
lot.
This is good. If you ever see this, pick it up.
Mhm.
Last appearance by Lee Morgan on a record. Okay. What's this? Oh, I found a couple of these.
Oh,
This Barney
that.
Kessell on stereo, which was
Barney
a label
Kessell.
Yeah,
Kessell, which was started
You're thinking
by
of Howard Kessell.
which was started by Contemporary started a label called Stereo when they introduced stereo records.
Right.
But this record is goes for a little bit of dough. This they did these interpretation records in a lot in jazz. So this is Barney Kessell's interpretation of the
Kessell.
music from Some Like It Hot. But the lineup on this is pretty good. You got Art Pepper, Joe Gordon, Jimmy Rouse, Jack Marshall, and Monty Budwig and Shelly Manne.
The Shelly Manne West Side Story one is excellent.
Yeah, but this
Oh,
is
yeah,
actually
really played on a lot of records.
good. Yeah, really good.
Cool.
Barney Kessell. I have two more records, and then Scotty can talk about what he wants to talk about. If anyone remembers,
Can someone turn their fucking radio off?
That's my wife. I'm going to drop off, guys.
Sorry.
Nice to see everybody. And
Take care, Doc.
yeah, thanks for putting it together.
Hey, one question, Harry. How do you feel about Dr. Roberts' outside noise interfering in the stream? This is a record Chris Thomas, who comes around occasionally, brought to my attention. This is on. I had found a reissue, but when we were out record hunting, I found an original. The Sonny Clark Memorial Quartet Voodoo, which is led by John Zorn. This is a kick-ass record. This is pricey. It's not a cheap record, but if you ever see it, pick it up. It is excellent. This is on Black Saint. So if no one knows about this, you know about it now. Okay. There you go. Did you get your technical crap settled there, Scotty?
Yes, I did. I got my records from you yesterday. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, Mazzy, when you do interview David Lowery, tell him I said hello. Scott Elliott from WMNF, because I interviewed him several times and I helped him out on stage when we had our festival there. So he remembers me. So, yeah, he's a cool guy. He's a very cool guy. Georgie Fame, Bonnie and Clyde.
And how dapper he's looking there.
And this is a comp. Sorry for the glare, but 66 to 69.
Great music.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
Earlier I put on a link to a show that I did for WMNF, Elton John concert, Elton John tribute. So you'll see me in action doing some songs there. So look early on in the chat room there. How's everybody doing?
We're
Terrible,
good
got
until
a
Rob starts.
I saw a little bit of the ranting.
Rob
It
just likes
wasn't?
to berate his audience. And
It was not.
yes.
Listen, I start talking for 20 seconds and then
But if you would just continue with the topic and not bring up the interruption, it wouldn't be a big deal. It's like those wankers that buy a new record and they say, oh, 3/42 track 2, there's a tick and a drop. And so everyone listens for it, then you can't unhear it. Just let it go.
Yeah, it's sort of like the moron who went on a moron parade complaining about a warble and a tone poet record.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I was not complaining about it.
That's one of your famous stupid
No,
things.
that's a great story, but I don't hear the warble. But heads were exploding because of the warble on that Black Fire record, the Andrew Hill record. So it is there apparently, but I just don't hear it. So I went at the people that when they point it out to you, you can't unhear something.
I can help you with this problem, Azzy. Stop going to the Hoffman forums. It's a stupid place.
Yeah. Oh, I got let back in the Rhino thread.
Wow. How tell us how that has changed your life.
It hasn't. No one noticed I was gone. It doesn't matter.
I used to go to the Hoffman forums, but I don't find any of the. Here's my impersonation of the Hoffman forums. I start a thread. Hey, everyone, have you heard the Sonny Clark Memorial Quartet Voodoo? Excellent record. But I have a, which one is the right one to get? And here's how the thread goes. I have that record too. Hey, I have that record too. Hey, I have that record too. Will any of you motherfuckers answer the question I posed?
And then there are 3 pages of shipping comments.
Yeah.
I just
have
got a shipping
James
notice.
Horner. Hey, Sonny Clark dated my mother. Just answer my fucking question.
And I love if you go in the equipment gear and someone says, I've narrowed it down to these 3 sets of speakers. Every comment will suggest 10 other ones, not the 3 that the person's asking about. But I understand that because people have favorites, and don't buy that, buy this one.
Hey, I have that record too. Maybe I can be in the
I'm
Hoffman.
actually Sonny Clark's son.
He
dated my mother in Wheeling, West Virginia, or in Ohio or something.
I actually enjoy hearing in the chat more than on screen.
My father actually dated Natalie Wood's sister because all the Russians knew each other. My dad was actually Russian family, but Yugoslavian, but they knew the Natalie Wood's family and dated the sister. I forgot her name, but before my time.
I would think, yeah.
Hey, I have $1,000 too.
He's my stepfather. He married. He's the Maslov that adopted.
I always feel like Mazzy's life, when he tells us stories, he's like an inch away from being famous.
It's like, what is it? 20 steps of stardom behind, that
60. Oh yeah. 20. Yeah,
that's a great documentary.
If any of us on screen are back,
20 feet of start, the backup singers, great,
Lana
great.
Wood.
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised that Jim hasn't poked in with his
Natalie's sister,
story.
not Lana Wood.
Jim has a Natalie Wood story.
I used to go to the Isthmus all the time, Catalina.
No, I thought she drowned 2 stalls away from your dad's boat.
That's where she washed up on the beach.
Oh.
Yeah, at the Isthmus. They had a big boat. They were way the fuck out there. Nobody really knew.
I can't wait till 3 minutes is over.
We were gone. Yeah, it was murder.
Look, as an official member of the Mazzy Posse Entourage,
you know who was on that boat? Christopher
Walken.
Christopher Walken, yeah.
What?
It's got a boat.
They were making the movie Brainstorm.
Yep.
Back in those days, man, people just used to get drunk, fall in the water, get tied up in the ropes, nobody noticed, and boom, that's it, baby.
Yeah.
You'd wake up in the morning and there'd be a mast sticking up out of the water. The boat sunk overnight.
What wasn't the story with Dennis Wilson? Is that where Dennis Wilson died too?
No, he died in Marina Del Rey.
I thought that's where Natalie Wood died.
No, she died
at Catalina.
Okay.
Catalina, yeah.
So Dennis Wilson was a bunch of his shit fell in the water, and I think he was diving for it, right?
Yeah, and he never came up.
Well, Brainstorm, that was Douglas Trumbull.
He was drunk out of his mind. He was very high.
No, he did the effects on 2001.
Right, he directed it. I don't think Brainstorm.
Didn't he direct Silent Running too? I think he directed Silent Running.
Yeah, he did the effects for Silent Running.
I think he directed Silent
with
Running.
those robots that deliver your food to you now.
Right. So what do you think of this, since we're ending in 2 minutes anyway? I could bring this up. This has been brought up by our president. He thinks now, apparently, it's kind of like Paul McCartney's Dead Clue, that Biden died and replaced by a robot. Did you hear about that? Seriously, this is not me.
I don't want to get into conspiracy theories. That
happened, Mazzy.
But if Biden was a robot, he wouldn't walk in circles like that. Robots are more advanced now.
Here's my response. Here's my response. Can we replace him with a robot?
Yeah, well.
Can we replace Mazzy?
He's eating the dogs. He's eating the cats.
Now, what do you think of the guy did he die? Or he got brain damage because he had too many orgasms with the sex thing in brain?
Orgasmatron?
here's what's funny, okay? That scene, because Brainstorm was on HBO practically all the 80s. You could watch it. The one scene where the guy, because it's about a VR headset you could put on and experience people's experiences. There was an experience of having a hot chick having sex, and the guy was stuck in it. But you could do that now. They predicted the future.
Well, actually, it's 9 o'clock, so we definitely can do it right now.
Well, oh God, now he's leaving. Well, it was a great live stream. We learned lots of things today. The number one thing we learned is don't interrupt me while I'm talking.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you
know
going to
what?
send out? Are you going to send out apology cards or
No?
or
You can interrupt me. You can. Anyone can interrupt me. But when I'm starting to talk and then you talk over me, I don't see that as interrupting. That's talking over me, where you're not even listening to what I have to say.
Jazzy, what's going on?
I'm sorry. This guy Richard James. Every time this link thing in the last minute is not funny.
Hey,
I
Richard-
think it's hysterical. I'm
Richard
sorry. If he
James-
doesn't do it, there's a hole in my heart if he doesn't do it.
It's
Hey,
an old
Richard James,
joke.
Richard James, here's the deal. I need bio information. Send me your bio. I'll go over it. I'll do a background check, and then if everything shakes out, then you will get a link.
You still won't do it.
I thought you guys
Well-
were talking about the Brainstorm. I've never seen.
Here's
What's the Woody Allen movie where they have an orgasmatron?
The sleeper.
The sleeper.
Yeah.
Orgasmatron.
Here's
I
my
thought you
orb.
guys-
The
If I
orb.
do-
Doesn't Barbarella have an orgasmic
Yes.
keyboard or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know, they're making a
Sorry.
new. They're going to be making a new Barbarella.
They've been
they're gonna
talking
be-
about that for years.
Well, now they have. I think they're going to. Sydney Sweeney, I think, is the one they're going to drop.
I
No,
don't.
no. Well, hey, it's been like 60 years. Of course, they can make a new version of it.
So if I do send you a link, don't be like Scotty and take 15 years to figure out how the link works.
I
Don't
think
go
we're
to
in,
backstage.
yeah, we're
I
in
think
1
you
minute
were stuck.
overtime. So
You didn't hit the button to put yourself backstage.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what happened. I just came out of the sun. I was doing yard work. Give me a
Yes.
break.
There's
hey, Oaken
excuse.
Shield. I understand what you're saying, but I think it's okay to make remakes of bad movies and improve. A good example is Ocean's 11, the latest series with Clooney and Soderbergh directed.
The latest series that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they're much better than the original.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but
oh,
go ahead.
there's a remake coming out. The original is a great Z level video movie.
It's fun because of the people in it. Yeah.
Of Toxic Avenger. So it's been sitting on the shelf for some weird reason for 2 years with Peter Dinklage. That one looks to be awesome.
Yeah.
I think
okay, can I just
my
say-
favorite
Go ahead.
bad movie for me is Valley of the Dolls, the original. I don't think they should ever remake that.
Yeah,
That is
no, I
the
understand
best
what you're-
bad
yeah.
movie ever.
But
I
the
love
point
that
is,
movie.
I mean, they're like, you don't remake Casablanca, right? Don't even try. There's certain movies you don't. Why bother? Like, I don't think. To be honest with you, I know it did okay, but I didn't like Spielberg's West Side Story at all.
No, it was all right.
People
It's not
get-
like the original.
No, the original had.
And Psycho's terrible too. The remake of Psycho was hideous.
But that was a shot for shot remake.
Well,
It
there's
was-
two different things. There's the
the whole
sequel
point-
and the remake.
Yeah.
Gus
The whole
Van
point-
Sant did the shot for shot one.
The whole point of the one that what's his face did with Vince Vaughn is it was a shot for shot remake.
That's Gus Van Sant.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's it. Like
Yeah.
that was his whole attempt to wanting to do it if he could replicate it. And it got good reviews.
I
But
still hated it. Yeah.
but there are plenty of here's as a Hollywood insider, here's typically why a remake is made. Remade for the producers to retain the rights to the story. That's typically why it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So
I want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
You obviously have something more important than I have to say.
Well, yeah, I do. That's like a low bar. But were you finished?
Tell us the story you've told us 7 times before. Please.
I just wanted to recommend that I personally watched Bono Stories of Surrender on Apple TV or wherever it is, and I thought it was really good. Thought it was very good.
Hey,
I
Auchenshell,
recommend it.
you probably haven't seen Del Toro's Frankenstein. It could be terrible. It could be great. I don't, as interesting as it was, I thought the Coppola wasn't very, that's Dracula. I'm sorry.
Well,
Dracula.
okay. If you know anything about Guillermo del Toro, he is overly romantically obsessed with the Universal series of monsters.
How tall is he?
I can't imagine he's more than like 5.
He could do something interesting, and it could be terrible,
Because Bono.
Well, hold on.
George
Someone's
Michael.
here for an apology to me.
No, not. I just wanted to interrupt you, is all.
Hi. So that was nice to have you up here.
It is more fun in the peanut gallery, though.
Did you get some vitamin C, Harry? Is that why you're in a better mood?
Yeah, that was it.
Can I just talk about how Bono is only 5'6", and so is Paul Simon's only 5'3". These are all people that I tower over. Billy Joe Armstrong, Prince, Ronnie James Dio,
Tom
5'4", Angus Young. All these guys stand behind me.
Bruce Springsteen.
When Patrick was here, I wanted to tell the story. So we leave Record Safari to go over to get Jim his cake, and Jim starts running, and I make a Super Mario joke like Jim can hop and hit the mushroom. Patrick thought that was hysterical. That's all.
That's what the mushroom comment was about all day. I missed that. I couldn't understand what the mushroom thing was about all day.
You're Super Mario.
I'm Super Mario. Okay.
Yes. I visualize it more.
That was a fun day, man. Roger.
So yeah. Harry, with an uninterrupted
game.
30 seconds before we leave, what do you want to say today?
Can we talk about the Beatles box set?
You can still get it in France. There's like 4 countries that still have it. I bet you. There's going to be more, but we don't know.
Was it ever?
They limited it to 2. When I looked at the website, it said
the second day they limited it to 2. The first day 4. In the UK was 1, but in France there was no limitations at all.
But initially it was because it's France,
and it's still available.
Hey, Rob, Mazzy's talking,
and it's still available in France.
It was initially 4 in the US.
Yes.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Was it ever officially announced how many total?
No, they didn't do it last time or this. The flipper thing is overrated. I mean, if someone bought 4, they paid $2,500 out of pocket.
I bought 8 under different accounts and
Good
addresses.
for you. If you do the work, you have to deal with that.
I hope they repress it again.
They will.
I bought 1. Probably. Everyone, that to me is something you're asking for trouble if you're going to try and flip.
Oh, it's one of the best of that. Of a box set.
We shall see how good it is.
I'm going to sell off the ones I have.
Well, if it's similar to last time, it's excellent. It's excellent.
The last one was very good.
Yeah,
the last one was
except
excellent.
side one to help.
Okay, my work here is done.
Well, what work?
Don't say that.
Yes.
So did you get your hair cut in Palia?
The first box set says 2014.
Yeah, she cut it kind of short.
Hold on. I want to say something to all you morons. Everyone watching is a moron. Last stream, I tried to introduce monetizing the stream while it was live. And I got nothing but complaints about commercials. Now I went back to normal. No interruptions with commercials. And no one says thank you.
You could have commercials at the beginning. You should have them at the beginning and the end.
Well, right now, I will monetize this after we end. That's what I normally do.
Now, do we get a cut? Because, we're contributing.
Well, you already got a haircut, Harry.
I got them all cut.
Listen, here's how it works, Harry. When you're part of my entourage, my fame washes off on you.
No, your stink washes off.
Oh, anger from Harry.
Hey, Angela, we don't know if they're going to do anything different. I mean, one thing that'll be different, because if they do inserts, last time I had an insert promoting it, and the backside promoted the Love Show in Vegas, and that's gone now. So,
Which was the worst
They
show in
should do
Vegas.
colored vinyl like the Stones.
no,
buy.
they shouldn't. Fuck that
I
color.
know. I know.
Hey, can I point something out? This dude, Eric Schultz, doesn't get to watch the stream live, but always leaves nice comments on the stream, which most of you should. You should express your appreciation to me and everything I give.
I leave my nice comments here live.
There you go.
Can you end the stream so I can post my video finally
About what?
about music in the 1990s?
Oh God. I mean,
Hey, if any, hold on.
That's pretty wide.
Since Mazzy's part of my entourage, I'm gonna let my fame wash off on him. If you ever want to be bored shitless, go watch Mazzy's video about music in the 1990s, where he
Okay.
orders you to like bands you would never give a shit.
No, I
about.
just want to prove to Harry that there was good music coming out past 1973.
Well, I agreed with you on your CD, mini LP covers. That's the way they should have been to begin with.
Well, this is another CD. I realize
I want my long box.
CDC is the thing here. It's not just the VC. The compact disc community is a thing, and apparently a lot of people want to see more CDs. So I'm gonna go there a little bit.
I'm waiting
Now's
for
the
the
time
long
to
box
buy them
to
because
come
you
back.
get them for $1 a piece almost anywhere you go in a garage sale.
Well, it depends on the CD. Yeah.
Hey, that Professor of Rock guy's okay, but I feel like he's a little too wound up about what he's talking about. Like he's and then he has to pay for all those hats somehow. Watch his commercials.
Wears a lot of hats.
He wears the same kind of, I don't know what it is. Is it a pork
Who
pie
does?
hat? Rimmed glasses. That Professor of Vinyl guy or rock,
Oh, right,
Professor of Rock guy.
Hey, wearing a hat guarantees you at least 25% more views.
Listen, guys, my uniform of
Really?
what I wear in the black track jacket, although I wasn't wearing a black track jacket when Mazzy's Uber fan came up to me. But
If you had a head of hair, Maz, I don't think the hat would be.
Mazzy
Well,
has a fan that drives an Uber.
Mazzy has a guy who he's everything Mazzy. In fact, this dude will probably love your stupid video about rock music in the 90s. That guy will watch.
Ronnie
Look
James
at
Dio,
it.
only 5'4".
Smiley, Harry likes it when I give the horribleness to other people, but not him.
Yeah. I just like being the recipient once in a while. It makes me, relive the old days.
Makes you feel wanted, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Earth, I don't understand what your verbal diarrhea comments about. But
Everyone's religious about something. I'm religious about music.
I'm not listen. I said this while we were shopping for records. They could all go away and I would be fine. It is something I'm very into. But we're not here forever, people. I'm not married to anything I have. If
Everybody's gonna die. We're all gonna. You're
we're
all
all
gonna
gonna
die.
perish from this. It's all
gonna
gonna turn
die.
black for us all.
Fortunately,
We're the only
realistic
living
about-
creature that
Look,
knows that we're going to die.
I mailed a box of records back to
Spooky.
myself during the fires, and someone stole it. You know what I did? I moved on with my life. That is the price of existing on this
Wait a
planet.
minute.
Yeah.
What happened now?
When I was back east, I sent 2 boxes of records back to myself during the fires when people were following around trying to loot Santa Monica unsuccessfully, at least in my case. There was a box claim that it was delivered and someone stole it. But you know what I did? I moved on. It was a loss, and I'm still here breathing oxygen, dealing with you wonderful people. So that's the perspective I have that maybe most
Yeah.
people don't.
I had the same
Good
one. I
way to
lost
look
all
at
my
it.
records in New York City except for like 2 boxes when I
Well-
moved from New York to Florida.
Yeah, that was
I had-
stupid, though. Mine was smart.
No, mine wasn't stupid. Mine was unfortunate. I had trusted someone. Maybe that was the stupid part
Well,
of
but
it.
here's my realization. there people all over LA lost everything. Everything.
Yeah.
I
Every
am
single
not
thing.
every single thing.
My brother.
I feel for them, and my heart goes out to them. And I feel like I did stuff to give back. That's all I could do. So that's all.
You're very giving.
My brother goes around going, I remember when I used to have a can opener.
Yeah, you know,
literally doesn't have anything.
Your brother's funnier than you are, but that isn't much.
He's not. Yeah, well, I don't know.
He might have taken it, but Jim's better friends with him than I am.
Who? What?
My weirdo neighbor that you know from.
Oh yeah. That guy doesn't like me either.
All right, guys, we went overtime so Harry could feel complete. But everyone,
thanks for coming back, Harry.
Good for you, Harry.
Come back.
Good seeing you, Scotty. I missed all you guys. Mazzy, watch that documentary I sent you. It's really good.
I'm telling everyone that Bono one-man show it's good. It's entertaining, and he's very self-deprecating and blah blah blah. It's good.
I'm reading the book right now, so.
And he's short. He's so short. I love it.
Yeah.
Everyone have a wonderful day.
See you later, guys. Check out my Elton John video. Don't forget. See ya. Bye.
And Harry.
Yes.